Hi, my name is Krista Adair. I'm a 7th grade science teacher at Riverside Middle School in the Crestwood District of Michigan. Today I'm going to discuss an alternate assessment to help students with English language learning, language barriers, and to help all students build a lot of self-efficacy and autonomy and have an important role in their own creation of formal assessments. The model of assessment that I'm going to demonstrate for you is called modeling. And this modeling assessment is commonly used through the Next Generation Science Standards. It's something that teaches children how to take information and build on it, and take something that they're not familiar with and inquire about it. An inquiry is a huge part of learning and assessing. Modeling is designed to show student growth, and that helps the teacher see the growth of the student, and it helps the student see their growth as well. Modeling creates a baseline before we begin a unit. So the students see the information that they know and the information that they want to know. And I like that word want rather than need, because that helps build intrinsic motivation. And that comes from the questioning part of the modeling activity. So I'm going to demonstrate a series of activities with this modeling assessment. And it happens twice. It happens before the unit begins and near the end of the unit. And I say near the end of the unit is because as we go through the model, you'll see that it allows an opportunity for a teacher to fill in the blanks or fill in any missing information that was misunderstood, or information that just didn't reach the students in the way that it should have. So first of all, I'm going to talk to you about the specific demonstration today. I'm going to use an Earth System Science example, and I do have a few students who are going to be helping me out with this. The Next Generation Science Standards Earth Systems standards that will be addressed are MS ESS 2-1, develop a model to describe the cycling of Earth's materials and the flow of energy that derives this process. MS ESS 2-2, construct an explanation based on evidence of how geoscience processes have changed Earth's surfaces at varying time and spatial scales. And MS ESS 2-3, analyze and interpret data on the distribution of fossils and rocks, continental shapes, and seafloor structures to provide evidence of past plate movement. I have some English language standards that are also going to be addressed in this activity. And I'm going to give you the standards from the Michigan English Language Proficiency standards. I have listening, speaking, reading, and writing standards that will be addressed. In listening, L1, L2, and L3, so follow simple and complex directions. Understand spoken English to participate in social contexts. Identify main ideas in supporting details from spoken English. And then L4, identify the meaning of vocabulary in the content areas. Speaking standards, S1, use spoken language for daily activities within and beyond the school setting. S3, use spoken English and nonverbal communication in socially and culturally appropriate ways. S4, use English to interact in the classroom. And S5, provide and obtain information, express and exchange opinions. And you will see this happening quite a bit throughout this activity. Reading standards are 1, recognize concepts of print literacy. R2, demonstrate phonological awareness and the relationship of listening and speaking of decoding. R3, build vocabulary to develop concepts. Writing, W1, use conventions and formats of written English. W3, write using appropriate vocabulary choice and variation. W5, use the writing process to produce written products. in W6 use various types of writing for specific purposes. So this modeling activity also aligns with our WIDA expectations, and we have objectives that the students will reach. So for WIDA writing, when they do their drawing and labeling, that's part of the writing. When they write down their questions, that's also demonstrating a writing skill. Speaking, there's partner interaction, one-on-one, as well as group partner work. So coming up with questions in a group and explaining one-on-one with another peer. Reading, they're reading one another's work. They're reading the work that they did to another person, and they're reviewing their group questions via reading as well. And their listening skills. The listening skills are extremely important in this activity because they're listening to their partners explain their perspective and their interpretation of the image. And they also are listening to their teammates with questions, because part of the questioning rules are that they cannot repeat the same question. So how this modeling activity works. First of all, they get a picture. And in this instance, I will be using this picture right here. This is an image of Pictured Rocks in Michigan. Again, the students will not be given this until the end of the first modeling session. They're going to take a blank sheet of paper and they're going to fold it like this. The students put their name and date at the top. Then they draw and label whatever they know in that image, whatever they think it is, and they create their own geological timeline for it. There's no wrong answer, and that's very important. They have approximately 5 to 7 minutes to complete this task. It's really important that they fold the paper in half, because when they come back to this activity several weeks from now, when the unit is over, they're going to draw their final product on the bottom, and then they can compare and contrast their images and measure their growth. For the activity today, I had my students do it on 2 separate papers, so it's easier for us to look side by side at what they drew previous and after. After they finish the image and the geologic timeline, initially, they share with a partner, and then they switch and they share with another partner. So each student shares their explanation and their drawing with 2 individual partners one-on-one. After that, they get together in a group and they look at the images and they discuss questions. And we focus on quantity, not quality. So, and I'm glad I made that mistake, because we often instill in kids that they have to get everything right. And obviously, it's a misconception that is difficult for even me to get used to at times. But we want them to come up with as much information, as many questions as they possibly can, without there being a wrong question. Now, of course, there are rules where it has to be appropriate and it has to be on top and on topic and on task, and that they can be simple and they cannot be repeated. They're given 5 minutes as a group to come up with as many questions as they possibly can. So we have 1 student writing and then everyone reviewing at the end of the 5 minutes. So again, quantity, not quality, because we're really focused on students developing those skills on how to question and how to get information, how to inquire. Those are really important skills. At the end of that 5 minutes, each group shares the list of questions, how many questions they came up with. Then, in their groups, they go ahead and they select the top 5 questions that they really want to know the answer to, that they really feel are most important. After they do that, we go around per each group. We share the top 5 questions and write them down. So I usually put them in a Google Doc that the students can access through Google Classroom, and then I print it out and I have it accessible or visible to them throughout the class. And my job as a teacher is to look at those questions and try and make sure that I address answering them. Some of them may have been things that maybe they should have already learned, and then I know I need to work one-on-one with that student to bring them up. Some of them might be questions that are a little advanced, and I know those kids who I can push a little bit harder and expand those inquiry and critical thinking skills. The great thing about this activity as far as our English language learners, and I do have a student who participated in this whose native language is Spanish, as she learned Spanish first, is that it doesn't matter what level of English they're on. Their question can be 3 words. Their question can be, what is that? Their question can be, how long did it take? It can be a very simple, non-complex question. And it's probably a question that every other student would like to know as well. So there's a large amount of comfort there. That peer interaction and peer support also helps. And that creates a comfort with the ELLs as well. So right now I'm going to pause and I'm going to show you some of the pre-images from the students who helped me out. Then I'm going to have them demonstrate the peer explanations and the group collaboration work, and we're gonna go ahead and look at their final drawings. Here are the models that the students drew prior to instruction of the rock cycle and weathering and erosion. R and J are now going to describe their images to one another and explain their timelines. R will go first.
Okay, so what I did was, I drew what features I saw on the rock, and I drew everything that I felt was important and labeled everything that I felt was really important. When rocks were formed, I ordered them, and I also drew the timeline at the bottom. I'm trying to space them out how I thought they were done, and I drew a bit of small detail.
Notice how when R was speaking that J was silent and listening to what R was saying. Now, J is going to explain to R what J drew.
So first I drew everything that I saw, and then going from there I decided to label it and explain how I thought that they were formed. So I saw that there was some water, then I saw that what it looked like a canyon, and I thought that that was formed of years of dirt compiling on top of one another. Then there were trees on top of that, and I thought that that might be man-made or planted from seeds, and then I just decided to label the sky because it was a part of the image. And then for the timeline, I thought I just put them in the order that I thought they were formed, so the water, then the rock formations, then the trees.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'm going to have M, R, and J collaborate and start coming up with questions that they want to know about this original image. So go ahead. While M is our scribe and writes things down, they can just take turns. Remember, don't talk over one another, but please contribute questions.
Where is this image located?
How was there a big hole in it?
What kind of rocks are they? Like, is that what you call them, rocks?
Why are they different colors?
Are the rocks native to land, or are they from different places?
Excellent questions. So if you want to go ahead, I'm going to have M reread the questions when M is done writing. M, go ahead and reread the questions.
Okay.